Hey everybody, welcome back. If you're new, my name is Chris. The weather is getting warmer and that means it's freshy season. I've already had several people ask me to do a video on freshy fragrances or fragrances that are good for hot weather. And so I'm gonna combine that. Last year I did a spring dedicated freshie and a summer dedicated freshie. I'm gonna combine them. So today I'm gonna talk about fragrances that smell fresh and clean, one of my favorite fragrance categories. Who doesn't want to smell fresh and clean? And I know I personally enjoy smelling others who smell fresh and clean. So I've got several fragrances that I think are great, fresh and clean fragrances that you can wear in the spring and the summer. I know I'll be wearing these fragrances. This is not a complete list. I'm going to do a separate video, like my favorites under 50 that are going to have some fresh and clean fragrances. And with that, I'm gonna dive right in. So I'm gonna start off with one of my very favorite fresh and clean sandalwood fragrances. I have been loving this for almost 3 years, well before I had a channel. And it is Nothing But Sea and Sky by Unui Nomad. I've got a pretty sizable dent in the bottle. I'm about halfway done. About 2 years ago, I made a video entitled 10 Niche Fragrances for Life, and this was on that list. This is a fairly straightforward fragrance, and even though a little bit on the simple side, it's a wonderful, fresh and clean sandalwood. So I think only 3 notes are listed: bergamot, musk, and sandalwood, Australian sandalwood. I'm sure there's a lot more going on, but you really do pick up those 3 notes. It's very fresh in the beginning. You get a nice freshness. It definitely has a clean sandalwood, and everything's kind of bathing in this really nice, clean musk. This is one of my few freshy fragrances that does well year-round. In the wintertime, I love to wear it on a cloudless day where the sky is really blue. And in the spring and summer when it gets warmer, this does really, really well. It's not a powerhouse. It doesn't last forever. I would say longevity is around 4 to 6 hours, but it is such a nice, refreshing, musky, clean sandalwood that I have been loving for years, and I'm sure I will continue to love Nothing But Sea and Sky. The next one I have is a fragrance that is great, kind of smells like you're stepping out of a shower in a really hot and dry place, and that is Juniper Sling. This is a fresh, woody, and warm juniper. This is like a gin and tonic minus the lime citrusy freshness, and then you add some pepper, you add some spices. There's definitely juniper in here, and it has a kind of a dry woody base with vetiver and maybe cedar. I do get a leathery suede in the dry down, and that kind of goes well with the vetiver. It keeps it kind of dry and warm, and this reminds me of like being somewhere like in a desert or the foothills of the mountains in California, maybe Utah. It's in the summer, it's very, very hot, and you get out of the shower. You just want to smell nice and fresh and clean and not overwhelming. And this is one of the fragrances that I would definitely wear when it's brutally hot. This does really well in very high heat and is not suffocating or overwhelming. And for that, it wears very, very lightly. It is not a super powerhouse. You know, you're probably not going to get more than 4 hours on this unless you really coat your clothes. But it is a great unisex freshie in my opinion. So the next fragrance really kind of lives up to its name. It is called Skin by Clean Reserve. And to me, this is a clean, sweet musk with a touch of powder. This is as if you just took a shower and you used this really nice shower gel that was slightly sweet, not quite unscented, but a light, gentle sweetness. And when you stepped out of the shower and you didn't put anything on, as your skin would warm up, it would warm up the residue of the body wash. That's what skin smells like. It's like your skin, but better. It does have a sweetness to it. There's salt and praline. You can definitely detect a sweetness, but it doesn't go into the gourmand territory. It's not overly sweet. It does add a little bit of sweetness to it. And as this dries down, it goes powdery. I can smell a nice little powder, like a fresh powderiness. It's very, very soft. It's like your skin, but better. And if you want to have a large scent bubble, you're going to need to kind of coat yourself and spray your skin. But I think the whole idea behind this, and a lot of fresh and clean fragrances, you don't want to be overwhelming. You just want to smell nice, fresh, and clean. And this will do it with a little bit of sweetness and a touch of powderiness. So a really nice one. The next one is a great, fresh and clean cheapie that I adore, and it is Versace Versus. I'm gonna talk about this until it becomes Well, I think it's discontinued, but you can still get it available. In fact, I just checked before I started the video, and I think I saw a 3-ounce bottle for like $39. So it's under $50. It's a wonderful, very light, fresh and clean unisex fragrance. To me, it smells a little bit like, or it does resemble Chanel Chance Au Tendre. No, Chanel Chance Au Fraîche, the one that is tinted green. This one right here, mine is so old that the juice is a little discolored, and I think it's gone after this video. I'm gonna run up to Sephora since Sephora's having that great sale, and I'm gonna replace this bottle. But they share a lot of similarities. It's a touch more sweet, it's a touch more musky, whereas Versace has a very strong blast of citruses up top. It's very citrusy. I wanna say lime, maybe a little bit of orange. There are some delicate white flowers. There's definite white flowers in here, and then it dries down, you know, with a pretty noticeable wood. So this one's a little bit more musky. This one dries down more woody and is a touch more citrusy. A really good unisex freshie that is incredibly affordable. It does not last forever. I would say around 4 to 6 hours. If it's really hot, I'm dressed casually and I only need a fragrance to last around 4 hours. This is a great one. This is a great go-to. It stands up to sweltering heat. I have worn it in the middle of summer and still felt refreshed. So Versace Versense, a really good, affordable, fresh and clean unisex fragrance. The next one is one I've never shown before. I got really interested in this particular line by Trussardi after I came home from Italy. I just became super interested in Italian fragrances. I found a lot of Italian fragrances that I brought home with me. And I've basically got everyone in the line, this particular line by Trussardi. This one is, the English version is Vie Milano. And this reminds me so much of Italy because, or Italy in the summer. I went there in the summer, it was super, super hot. And I really gravitated towards anything that smelled lemony fresh. So I had a lot of beverages that were very sparkly and had a lot of citruses in them. I probably drank 50 gallons of sparkling water. And if I had a cocktail, it was going to be a citrusy cocktail, usually strong in lemon or lime. So this really reminds me of Italy because it's a very citrus forward fragrance, and it's actually the fragrance I'm wearing today. It's my fragrance of the day. Completely unisex. And what this smells like is when you first spray it, you're going to get a blast of citruses like orange and lime. I think it has both of those, but to me it smells like when you're peeling an orange, that mist that comes up, it's just delicious and fresh and intoxicating. That's the orange that is in here, and it's mixed with some lime, so it's got this really nice citrus freshness, but it's not sharp and it's not in your face and it's not screechy. And it definitely has ambroxan in here. A lot of people are super, super sensitive to ambroxan and hate ambroxan. You can definitely detect the ambroxan in here, and it's in here because it gives it longevity, but it's certainly present. It has a nice greenness. There's petitgrain in here. Petitgrain to my nose can go bitter. There's no bitterness in here at all. And I want to say there's like a touch of basil just to give it a little bit freshness. It's a little bit aromatic, and all those notes combined gives it a freshness and makes it very, very unisex. It really doesn't lean one way or the other. I love to wear it, and I can absolutely see Pat wanting to wear this. I don't think he's ever smelled this. I've never showed this one to him, but I can guarantee you he would enjoy this. It's not a loud fragrance, but for being a citrus forward fragrance, the longevity is decent. I mean, at least 4 to 6 hours. And it's got this nice juniper, basil, vetiver in the base, which I think makes it more unisex and gives it a little bit of grounding. So I adore this fragrance, and I want to say on Joma Shop, I'll probably put a link below if you're interested. It's around like $79, $80. It's a really good deal. I love this one. A very, very elevated, fresh and clean fragrance that I would not wear in a casual situation. This fragrance could be a wedding day scent. I would wear this if I was dressed up, maybe going to a fancy brunch, a fancy dinner al fresco somewhere for a special occasion, a birthday, an anniversary, something like that. There's nothing casual about Valaya. I did an entire dedicated review video on this fragrance, which I never do. I never do single perfume reviews. So this is like a very musky version of Fleur Narcotique, if you've smelled that one. This is very musky, and the musk in here is very light, but it is slightly aquatic. It is the musk The musk in here reminds me of the musk in Delina La Rosée. So there's something very refreshing about it. It's light. There's citruses at the top. I know tangerine and maybe a little bit of peach. And then it settles into white flowers. You've got orange blossom. I definitely get a little bit of lily of the valley in here. And for being a citrusy, musky floral on me, I get tremendous longevity. I've had people contact me in the comments, like here on here on YouTube and Instagram. A couple people have said they couldn't get great longevity. I do not have that experience. If I spray on clothes, this will last days, like days and days and days. And on the skin, I can get most of the day wearing this. I'm going to be doing another wedding day video, and this will definitely be in it. A very ethereal, refreshing, musky, white floral, citrusy fragrance that is very special. And I'll be wearing when I want to smell ethereal, fresh, clean, fancy, and I want my fragrance to last most of the day. The next one is Petit Matin by MFK, and I love this perfume. This is right up my alley. It is a lemon forward fragrance, so it's a lemon and orange blossom, a little bit of lavender, super fresh, super bright. Oh, this is so refreshing. This does have a little bit of that fresh laundry vibe, but it's not cleaning product. And it has lavender in here, but the lavender is in the background. So you might not know lavender is in here if you didn't see the notes. And it has a very subtle sweetness in here. I don't know if honey is part of the notes. Once again, I will put up the notes on the screen, but there is a subtle sweetness, whether that's from like a sweet lavender or orange blossom itself is kind of a honeyed white flower. It is a sweet white flower, so that might be the sweet orange blossom mixing with the lemon, with the lavender. There's a little bit of ambroxan in here. And like I say, I have a lot of fresh and clean fragrances, but there was something about this perfume that smelled so great. I think anyone wearing this fragrance, man, woman, will smell terrific. I wore it the other day. I wore this one and a fragrance I'm gonna show in a minute. This is Loewe 01 Woman. I wore them side by side, one on each arm, and I went to Athleta, and I got like 2 compliments. And I asked the people, well, which one do you like better? And they smelled both and were like, they smelled both of my arms. They're like, wow, they both smell great. But they're light wearing, particularly, so back to Petit Matin, this is light wearing, but it has a nice little scent bubble and a little teeny sillage. So I think people were smelling me when I was lifting my hand, or when I was moving my arm or lifting my hand. That's when my clean sillage was kind of wafting around people very lightly. I don't need this, but I absolutely adore it. And so I might as well go ahead. So I might as well talk about Loewe 01 Woman. This was the other one I was wearing when I got all these compliments out and about. So I was going to Sephora, and there was an Athleta right next door. Of course, I had to pop in there. So another excellent kind of fresh, clean. This is more of an elevated scent. This is like buttoned down, crisp white shirt, a very good office scent. So this is fresh and clean with a little bit of sweetness. So there's vanilla in here. There's a little bit of tangerine. This is a sandalwood forward fragrance, and it is sandalwood, but it's sandalwood and sandalwood forward. And it is fresh and clean, but it has a really nice sweetness to it. There's a nice, gentle, but detectable sweetness. So it is fresh and clean, but it is sweet. And it also has a little bit of, if I didn't say already, it's got like orange or tangerine and a subtle pop of pink pepper. Nothing in your face, but just gives it kind of like an invigorating vibe. And I think the tangerine and like the pink pepper counterbalance that vanilla, so it's not too sweet. So I think this does lean feminine because of that vanilla, but it is absolutely a beautiful, fresh and clean, slightly sweet sandalwood. It's lovely. It does not have, it's not a powerhouse. And again, one of the fragrances that I was wearing when I got 2 compliments when I was out and about shopping. There are good things in my opinion about not being a powerhouse. They are office friendly or work friendly for me. I prefer them. Neither this nor the MFK fragrance, Petit Matin, or for the most part, most of the fragrances I talked about or will talk about are going to offend those around you. You're just going to smell fresh and clean. So Loewe 01 Woman, I absolutely adore this, and you will see this in multiple upcoming videos because this is fairly new in my collection this year and I am loving it. The next one is an oldie but a goodie. This is my second bottle. This is the counterpart to Chanel Chance Eau Fraîche that I just showed very, very quickly that I need another bottle of. And this is Chanel Chance Eau Tendre. This is my second bottle. This is my favorite perfume to smell on other people. I know a couple other people at my job occasionally wear it, and when they wear it, I think they smell fantastic. This is the fragrance I compliment most people on. I've said it before, I smell like Coco Mademoiselle, I smell Black Opium, La Vie Belle, I smell that in the community. But when I smell somebody who's wearing Chanel Chance Eau Tendre, I make sure I go up to them, tell them how great they smell. They just smell so incredibly pretty. It's a pretty, pretty fragrance. This is a jasmine, hyacinth, quince fragrance. It's basically just a refreshing, fruity floral. This is a clean, refreshing, pretty, slightly sweet, fruity floral that I absolutely adore. I'm sure lots of people have gotten sick of. I still have not gotten sick. I don't wear it as much. I should wear it more. My collection has just gotten so large, but it is a fantastic, fresh and clean fragrance, and I'm going to force myself to wear because it smells so pretty, and I love smelling it on other people. So the next one is one by Zergoff. This is one of the strongest fresh and clean fragrances in my collection, and this is called Neo. So this is a very fresh and realistic citrus fragrance. So this is definitely one of the most realistic citrus fragrances out of the ones I'm going to show you. It has, I mean, this is, whoa, this is lemon and orange, but it has a very prominent note of cardamom. If you don't know what cardamom smells like, go to your spice cabinet, open the cardamom pods, and that's what cardamom smells like. That aroma is really kind of infused with these very realistic citruses, though my mouth is watering, orange and lemon. And there's a pepperiness to it. It's probably got pink pepper. There's something green in here, maybe petitgrain. Perhaps it's got a little bit of neroli. I definitely smell some sort of white flower. It's more citrusy than it is floral. So this is a citrus fragrance with white flowers in the background. You know, probably neroli. Maybe there's petitgrain in here because it is just a touch sharp. And maybe that's the cardamom I'm smelling instead of petitgrain. But again, it's making my mouth water. It's very tart, very juicy, very fresh, very refreshing. Definitely 100% unisex. It has like a woody vetiver dry down. And like I said, for it being a fresh and clean fragrance, this will get you pretty much all day. I can't put the lid on, but Neo by Zergoff. The next one is part of the cruise collection from, is it Dior? Yeah, it's Christian Dior. And it is Escale A Portofino. Another one that reminds me of Italy. This is Italy in the summer. Very citrus, very yellow citrus forward. Lemons, neroli, petitgrain, musk, juniper. This one, however, has a very detectable evergreen note. I get an evergreen in the background, which I haven't noticed in some of the fragrances that I've talked about this far. So it does have that Mediterranean vibe. It's got that cypress tree. So citruses, lemons, white flowers, neroli, petitgrain, some cypress, and a little bit of, this has juniper in as well. I can detect that as it starts to dry down. It becomes more musky in the dry down, and has just a touch of sweetness, almost like a very slightly sweetened glass of lemonade. Has that kind of lemonade sweetness in here. Super, super refreshing. Very, very light wearing. Perfect for super hot days when you don't need a fragrance that will last forever and it will stand up to the heat. Won't overpower you, and I think the little bit of sweetness that I get in here keeps it from being kind of like a cleansing product. It's not going to fall into that category, at least for me. I think this is great for people who live somewhere really hot, where it's going to be hot this summer. The last one is a fragrance that I purchased while I was in Italy. It was on the last day in Italy, last shopping day, last perfume I purchased, and it was like 97 degrees. It was scorching hot, and I needed something that was incredibly refreshing. And of course, it was going to be a lemon-based fragrance, but this is Meditteraneo by Carthusia. I loved so many in that house and had a great time sniffing, but I walked away with this fragrance because it was so incredibly refreshing. It was the perfume equivalent to drinking a tall, cold glass of lemonade. Again, this is a citrus forward fragrance, a lemon forward fragrance, but this also has a little bit of mint in here and some eucalyptus. And I think they're not prominent, they're not overly loud. The citruses still kind of went out, but I think those two notes kind of add to the refreshing quality of this perfume, which kind of goes with the hot Mediterranean vibe, and it is fantastic if you want to smell fresh and clean on a sweltering hot day. Now again, this one wears lightly. This disappears pretty quickly, I would say by 4 hours. However, I loved it so much, I bought the entire body line. I bought the body wash and the lotion. So if I do the trifecta, I can get it to last longer. But great memories, smells delicious, and perfect for those of you who live somewhere very, very hot. This will be refreshing on 100-degree weather, I guarantee you, and that is it. This is not a complete list, but these are some of my favorite fragrances that I've pulled for in the past when I want to smell fresh and clean, and a few newer ones that I know I'm going to want to wear as the weather gets warmer. I hope you enjoyed your time with me. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you for supporting me. Again, leave me a note what your favorite fresh and clean fragrance is below in the comments. And with that, I will see you on the next one.